daily cycle components. We have a really good understanding now of Asia range, of how it should be induced into London, right? And then of course move in a different scenario. But of course there's way more for the overall daily cycle components to make even the intraday plays way more obvious, because of course there's way more than London. So let's dig into it. So we covered Asia range, we covered London Open. What we're obviously going to cover now will be New York Open. But again, for us, New York Open is not really New York Open. We have a New York trap time as well, which is way more important than New York Open. Then we will have London close. We have the really, really crazy magic manipulation minutes, and that's just the freaking cheat codes in here. And then, of course, we will show you how the overall day can look like in terms of timing confluences and the stuff you learned so far. So, and just mind me, we need to pick up the pace a little bit. So if I'm going too crazy or too fast, just hold me up here, okay? So we will start with the New York trap though. It's pretty much like London, but different. The intentions are literally the same. So what they will do in New York trap, again, it's the same plane over again. So the New York guys come into play, right? And they say, okay, we want to take over now as well. And of course, London is still into play. So sometimes there's always like this little issues with them both. So that's why they're not happening into London Open, New York Open. That's why we will use New York trap time, which is 1 hour after New York. But you need to understand that there will be traps at London Open, because obviously they're opening their session, and there will be, of course, their manipulation in place when they jump in. But then again, London is still into place, and that's why they're still arguing a little bit. No, we want to push price higher. No, we jump in, we want to price for lower. So that's why the first hour is always like a little back and forth. And then usually at 3 p.m., which is 1 hour after New York Open, is when the real New York trap move happens. That is very important. So you need to understand New York Open, which is 2 p.m. UTC plus 2, will be sometimes some sort of traps. But then 3 p.m. UTC plus 2, no, for UK times it will be 1 p.m. New York Open and 2 p.m. New York trap. Okay? Again, and then 1 hour after New York Open is when the real trap happens, and that is then 3 p.m. okay, for UTC plus 2. So how does it look like in the charts though? Again, what do you have in here? Very familiar, doesn't it? So we have equal highs like crazy, false channel in here, faking first this low trend. Guess what happens? Inducement of Asia highs plus this major structure in here, just by a little bit. When does it happen? You already can recognize this box. Happens perfectly in London Open. Of course, they're grabbing the liquidity in here, making the huge push after liquidity grab. Continue. After here, consolidation. Before they're pushing, they push price higher to even go lower. This is where New York opens in here. But guess what? This box simulates the New York trap time. And guess what they do? New York Open getting induced by the trap time, and then price can continue higher. Another example, look at this one, Asia range. What do? Building up the channel. Guess what? Last channel in London Open. Awesome. What do? Of course, grabbed all the liquidity, smokes price through Asia like nothing, giving the false pullback, right? Then again, guess what? This is the fake New York Open in here. You see this little wick where they have like this argument, like, oh, I want to push price higher, no, lower, And finally, this is the final inducement in New York trap time, right? As you can see on the clock. Again, this line is 25, so this is literally 5 to the clock, at 3 to the clock, New York trap time, and then they're pushing price higher for the next liquidity zones in here. So New York Open usually makes a trap, like in the wrong side direction, and New York trap time literally makes the trap, then the final inducement, and then price can push higher. As you can see here, New York traps, and then the final push, the final inducement usually is in New York trap time, which is 3 o'clock. Okay, so how does this look then into chart examples? So we have an overall hour cycle as usually in the daily aspect of it. Of course, it's the same thing over again. Small money trap. This area is an interest in here. When there's a tap into London Open, perfect, inducement cycle done. Obviously, there's smoke price lower after the final inducement in London Open. Guess what? Faking the thing in here after this inducements in here, of course, giving the false pullback, right? So now, there we go. False flag, pushing price lower. Now, of course, like it's coming into New York trap time. Again, the ideal trap time is 3 o'clock. Now we're on 2:40, so close enough. And then again, out of a sudden, they're starting to reverse price and making these inducements in here. It happens when New York trap time, okay? So then again, another example on a different direction here. Again, we have this inducement to the left side, right? So you don't need to induce higher in here, right? So that's why they're starting to induce lower here. Never grab liquidity to the left in here, right? We only had this. Guess what this will be? With the timing though, timing like in the middle of Frankfurt Open and also New York Open. So we have a pretty good understanding that this is what? Smart money trap gives a reaction. Awesome, right? So what can we expect afterwards? Of course, ranging, right? So what do they do here? Ranging, inducing low, creating what? Equal lows in the process, equal highs in the process, right? So they're inducing high. When does this happen? New York Open. They press price higher to induce now high. So what can we expect just in terms of cycle? Should this be the final inducement? No, we wait for what? New York trap time, right? So inducing high first to do what? To price lower. So how do we know if this is a smart money trap now or mitigation? Right? How do we know? We can know out of multiple interests, but again, we use timing now for the daily cycle. A hint, right? So what does the timing say here? Right? It's not New York trap time now. So guess what? It becomes a smart money trap. Now we're moving into New York trap time. Now we're having this demand area in here, right? Gets mitigated with the New York trap time. We're just utilizing time and of course these zones. That's why again you see, why is this not a zone? Why is this not a zone? Why is this not a zone? Like of course it all makes sense if you just look at the clock a little bit more and you will notice how crazy it will become. And again, after the trap time is done, then they reverse price. It's literally clockwork for them. They do it literally, it maybe sounds like maybe that's 1 or 2 examples for you. We will show you hundreds. Anyway, so what is going on here? Build-ups like crazy all over the place, right? All the channeling upwards. When it's price done, inducing high though, again making this final last inducement low to push price higher. When it's done, New York trap time, getting now, 3 o'clock, pushing price lower, right? You need to definitely get a clock. It's so important later on, right? And again, also what is this? Like this dinosaur pattern. This other guys would be very proud of us. Again, very clean example here. What is going on here? Same thing. Asia low, Asia high. This 100% becomes, guess what? Smart money trap. Very easy at this point, isn't it? Right? That's obviously the reaction of the false one. There's your inducement, right? Minor one. And now, of course, you're having, again, you see how we don't need a smart money trap to the left now because the smart money trap is literally in here, right? Smart money trap, inducement into mitigation areas. When should it happen? New London Open in this scenario, right? Missed it, unfortunately, right? So stayed short of it like a little bit. So sometimes what do? They come back at it, right? They come back. More about this later. That will be a crazy one. You will love that one. And then, of course, they mitigate it properly. So obviously, it doesn't need to be always perfectly London Open in here. Now they mitigate it, fulfilling the whole play, right? So what is going on next? Of course, tube them. Now we have London Open. What do? Reversing price. New York, false New York move though. Again, faking the break of structure in here with New York Open. And guess what? Pushing price lower. Now we have New York trap time. Look at the clock in here. 3 o'clock, almost to the minute. Guess what? Done inducing now. Can push price higher. See how they do it all the time. It's clockwork, literally. It's clockwork. New York opens, makes a false move, induces high first, push price lower, stopping out everyone. New York trap time, it successfully trapped everyone. Again, push price higher. Like clockwork. Time is money, exactly. Right? And like a not clean one, like for example, here you had like masses, whatever, and this is a really rare arrangements where like this holds in here for whatever reason, right? It holds, okay, happens sometimes, but guess what? You have New York trap time now, and of course you push price higher then. So let's look at a very detailed cycle to make things a little bit easier. So guess what? So again, this is literally from Friday. Again, we don't show you like whatever yearly old shit whatsoever. That's literally Friday. Okay, so what is going on here? And now please, everyone, be very patient about this one because this stuff is essential to understand for the intraday play. Again, because if you combine it later with, I don't even know what it is. Maybe it is EU, CHIU, I don't know. It could be CHI, I don't have no idea. It's literally every pair. It doesn't really matter. All right. But guess what? If we want to combine it later on, as Alex did it on the higher time frames and for the overall plays, again, first we need to start somewhere, and that's always the intraday plays. You see, we don't look at the left yet. We just look at timing to understand the daily cycle and the session's intentions. Okay, so we don't need anything to the left yet. Of course, later we highly need something to the left, but just to understand the pure daily cycle, we don't need to look to the left yet. Okay, we're just looking at timing aspects. It's TJ. Awesome. Thank you, Queen. There we go. So what do we have? Same thing all over again. Building the buy trend, building this false channel. Again, now channeling up out of Asia range. Minor inducement, right? There you go. This is the inducement now. When does it happen? London open, almost to the minute, right? So guess what happens next? What is this? After the inducement, after the cycle is done, right? So this is the internal break of structure. So what we're looking for next, again, we're looking for mitigation. We're marking out this zone with the imbalances. Huge imbalances here. That is the inducement from London open, right? Awesome. Also the extreme of the push. Right, so what do we expect next after the internal break of structure? Of course, price comes back. Does what? Mitigates the zone. Awesome. Is that surprising? I don't know. Right, so what's going on after? Making now this main break of structure out of Asia. Obviously only an internal break of view now. Right, so what is going on? This point in here is the decisional. Right, after this internal break of structure in here. Guess what? This is decisional, that's the extreme. The extreme already is mitigated, as you can see closely in here. Right, so the decisional play inside here gets mitigated like clockwork. Guess what? Now you're trading the order flow. Right, look at it. Mitigates the order flow, makes new lower lows, order flow, making the imbalance, order flow, making equal lows now, inducement with the vector candle, channeling downwards until when? And now look at that shit. When does it stop? Like, oh, you're kidding me. Like, what in the hell? 15 o'clock to the minute, New York trap time. What is that shit? False New York trap move, right? To the minute, New York trap time. When does it reverse? What in the hell? Are you kidding me? That's just by looking at the clock. What in the hell? What the fuck? And again, guess what? If you combine the structure now, if you combine mitigations, if you try the lower time frames, if you try all the others, we have so much stuff in between in here. We have EDMs, we have LEDs, we have even EDMs here. We have a LED in here. It's just crazy. And that's how you see us pretty much playing this sell in here, making the buy in here, making the sell in here again. Whatever, like it all makes sense to you so much at the ending, right? So again, that's just timing. Just think about that. How crazy is that? Right? We have 15 other stuffs we combine into that. So for this day, just understand this little thing in here. And again, it looks so simple, but again, this is the shit. This is literally it. Of course, it will not look like this perfectly all the time, but understand Asia range, minor inducement. Maybe this is the small money trap to the left, right? Getting the false reaction, high inducement with vector candles, speed, London open. What does it best case do? Of course, mitigate something or can induce something. Internal break of structure, mitigating in here, obviously goes lower. Small money trap in here maybe, building equal lows, New York open, makes the false push, goes lower, inducing lower, New York trap, mitigates something maybe, internal break of structure, maybe here, mitigates, off to races. It's like clockwork. But again, it becomes even, that's nothing yet. That's the obvious stuff. That is the obvious stuff. That's not even like crazy yet.